Greetings. R. Frederick Riddle here with another Christian News and Views. And this is episode 192. And this is Tuesday, and we're going to be looking at some news. Now, I've been going over the news items of the day to see what I want to talk about. And there's a lot of distraction out there. They get focused on one issue that really has no governmental uh, aspect to it. It's it's just something being it's stirred up, distracting. They'll throw anything they can out there to keep President Trump from getting his doing his job and getting the his agenda going forward. And so they're trying everything, and they're throwing some more mud and questioning this and questioning that, making a lot of innuendo and everything, and seems to be getting in every kind of news coverage I could find. And I'm not saying it's not important, but it's kind of dims in importance when it concerns the United States, the government, and things of this nature. So it took a while, but I finally found something worth discussing. Today, Philippine president is going to be visiting Trump, probably already is. President Trump hosts here's the article. President Trump hosts Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Tuesday at the White House, seeking closer security and economic ties at a time when China is increasingly assertive in the Indo-Pacific region. There's more to that article, but basically that was half of it. One of the reasons I don't get into it, I didn't have it in my notes. I don't have it, but the reason the Philippines are doing this is because there is a little bit of a dispute between between the Philippines and China, and that has caused some naval, I believe it is, uh, conflicts of a sort, and so it's getting serious. And that is probably on Marco's mind a little bit, but really it's all part of a rise, in China. So their overall aggressive stance, if you will. Um, so it was a short article, as you can tell. It was among other news that the media is obsessed with, and we're not going to get into that. I just think it's wasting my time. But this is important. The very fact that the news was buried suggests that the tariff policy is working. That's another reason why, in fact, that's the primary reason that they're giving for the Filipino president to be here to discuss tariffs. And there's been some victories and some defeats, or well, maybe I shouldn't call them defeats, delays. Uh, But overall, there have been a variety of countries that are either cooperating with the United States or are examining their own policies and what they're doing and what they're not doing, and seeing if they can come up with some kind of a compromise, some kind of way of working things out with the United States. There are some out there who say, I don't know, we're not going to cooperate, but that's diminishing. So overall, it seems to be a very positive, winning uh, uh, um, how you say it, a winning program, a winning uh, policy that they have, and it's drawing countries to the United States. Now, I've covered this off and on for ever since President Trump got it, actually before he took office, I think. And so this is something that's ongoing and it's important, and it's probably going to be one of those lasting legacies because they're making new treaties and so forth. And this is going to be hard for any future president to undo. Can they undo them? Yes. President Biden didn't do much while he was president, but one thing he did do is he tried to undo as much of what Trump did do. Uh, that he could. Fortunately, he was limited in that, but it can be undone. But President Trump is laying the groundwork here, and we have a win. But that's not the only reason for this this meeting. I've already hinted at it. It's to discuss China, and that's a subject that needs our attention. So you might ask why? Well, because China is getting aggressive. They're not our friends, never have. Well, since the communists came in, anyhow, they have never been our friends. They are allies of Russia in the Ukraine war and probably on other aspects as well. And they're providing them with military materials to enhance the Russian military. One of these things is the drone attacks. Russia is now sending mass drone attacks that, in combination with missiles and so forth. So it's a very aggressive policy that Russia is doing to try to get in that 50-day period that Trump has given them. They're trying to get as much accomplished as they can. Don't know how much that deadline is going to mean to them in the end anyhow, but they're trying to use that time as aggressively as they can, and China seems to be deep involved in that. But that's not all. China, on top of all that, China is looking at Taiwan and licking their lips. They have wanted Taiwan ever since their civil war, and the legitimate Chinese government was forced out, and they went over to Taiwan and set up there, sort of a government in exile. Although I don't think that term is ever used again anymore about them. The communists have been there in China for so long that they are considered the legitimate government now. But the Taiwan is a independent country of its own. And China, though, will not recognize them and wants to bring them back under the umbrella of being China. And of course, that would mean death or imprisonment for all of anybody there who doesn't want to be part of China. So once again, China has set its eyes on Taiwan. And beyond that, Philippines, I've mentioned, Japan's in that area. The whole Indo-Pacific area is just something that China wants to be a part and wants to rule that. And if they do, that makes them a world. Well, they're already a world power because of the weapons they have, but and also the number of people they have. But that would strengthen their hand as a world power, and they could feel more confident, say, to go against the United States. One of the reasons for this thing too is that the United States has been upgrading its naval forces. Under Biden, those forces had sort of aged, and I don't know how many were retired, but they haven't really replaced them aggressively. And the Trump administration is pushing forward on that. And so we'll just see how that goes. So but this, again, that's not everything. Add to all that, China has gone aggressively after American interests, including American farmland. Now, I don't think I've ever commented on this before, but there has been news on that front line, and it just didn't make it to this show, but it's been there. And the Trump administration is trying to put a stop to that. But the truth is that China is like that, the genie in the bottle that gets out of the bottle. In this case, it is next to impossible to put her back in. China has been aggressive in its confrontation with America. And some of you may remember the balloons flying over. Yeah. That was part of it. They've been aggressive in other areas as well. And so it's a topic that has risen to the top. And China is not going to go away that easy. And Trump has a big battle on his hands. Now, all this suggests that the Trump administration is very aware of China's aggressive stance and is moving to block it. Growing Chinese influence around the world is a concern. So China is more focused uh, on things other than just their military strength. They are pressing forward on many fronts. Stopping them is somewhat like fighting an ant invasion. If you ever seen a lot of ants in your house or even around your house, you try to kill one or a few, and more pop up. They just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. In the end, you have to attack the entire colony if you want to get rid of them. You may have to have your home fumigated or something like that. Well, that's what we have here. The Chinese are pressing forward on so many fronts that was allowed to develop under the Biden administration. You can go back. I think it may have even been under the first Trump, and you go back under Obama and so forth. They were building, but under a Biden, they really started to expand because they didn't have the restrictions, and so they've become a major problem. In fact, this could prove to be one of President Trump's greatest um, challenges as president of the United States, right alongside the Ukraine war and Israel, the war going on over there in Israel. And so there's different things that Trump has to uh, attend to there. I admire President Trump. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame. He doesn't need any of those things. It's kind of hard to say. Some people say he doesn't love America and he wants to be a dictator. Well, no, they're missing the point altogether. President Trump loves America, and he's doing this basically. Uh, I don't know if he's continuing to do what he did when he was president the first time. The first time around, he did not. He took a salary, but he turned that salary in and turned it over to other entities. I don't remember who they went to. I think they're outside the government, though. But he would donate the money to this or to that. And he might be doing that again. But he's not after any of that. He doesn't need it. What he's wanting to do is to leave a legacy, if you will, of where America is better, stronger, um, great again. And that is something that he wants to do. And he has really picked an interesting time. You got Ukraine, you got Israel, and now you got China. And there are other hot spots around the world as well. So he's got his challenges. If anybody can pull this off, I would think that Trump is. And I don't know what his prayer life is, but I suspect it gets stronger all the time because you need God. He needs God along him, and he needs God's strength and wisdom, and he needs our prayers. And so I'm encouraging you to pray for President Donald Trump. Well, that's it for now, for today. That's the news. And I do want to say this, if you have not subscribed to TR Independent Books channel, then I encourage you to do so. When you do, you encourage me, and I have three different goals. I want to inform you, encourage you, and inspire you. Every episode I do has those goals in mind. Do I succeed? I try, but the judgment of that is in your hands. When you tune in to watch these things, you are doing so. And if you subscribe, that lets me know that you are watching, you are paying attention to it. Maybe thinking. Maybe my goal is to put stuff out there for you to think about. You don't have to agree with me, but to think about it and try to think about it in Christian terms, biblical terms, and things of this nature. And I hope I'm succeeding in that. I do watch, I do check the views, I do check comments and things of this nature, likes, dislikes, so all that good stuff to see what your response is. And so when you do that, you're going to encourage me. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode.